The first thing when you think about moving into the cloud is you have to make a determination that the same types of security frameworks that operate in your legacy private network has to also be interoperable with a cloud service provider. That CSP has to be able to offer the same granular look and feel and touch of your environment. So that has to be on a single pane of glass. Those virtualized or hardware-based instances of firewalls, next-generation firewalls, IPS, web application firewalls, sandboxes, and SIEMs have to have the same look and feel across your legacy environment into your cloud environment. Second issue that's going to come across, because the main issue in public clouds is going to be about commingling of data. You're going to have to look to that service provider and ask them, how do you ensure that my data is not commingled with others? How do you ensure that only my folks have access to that data? And how do you ensure the state of that data? And so some of the considerations that you should look for in that service provider. The first part is think about employing a CASB, Cloud Access Security Brokerage, which allows you deep insight into the state of your data in the cloud, who's accessing that data, the data that's leaving that environment. That's a very helpful way of ensuring visibility into that cloud environment. The second issue, the hypervisor. Make sure that the hypervisor that cloud service provider is employing can scale, can provide the level of automation and orchestration across your traditional SD-WAN and your network function virtualization issues as well. And that helps you ensure that you have the same look, feel, granularity of administration as you move across your private network into a public cloud environment. And third, ask them if they allow pen testing via APIs. You've got to be able to ensure the security of that virtualized container, that environment that's in that cloud services provider. Fourth, you want to ask them who has access to that data in terms of people. Do they go through professional background checks? Do they go through financial background checks and criminal background checks? Do they go through the types of background checks that a service provider would provide to a nation state, for instance? Also think about what you're moving into the cloud. Is it appropriate to move into the public cloud environment? In fact, when you take a look at many of the government regulations across the United States, across the European Union, and in Asia Pacific, there are very strict data sovereignty requirements that do not allow for certain types of data to be moved off-prem. But for the data and applications that you are going to move off, or able to move off, make sure those applications are cloud ready. And they can be tested. Application vulnerability is key. That management needs to be done by you, because at the end of the day, the responsibility for the security of the data and the applications in the cloud is yours. And that's very important to remember when you're thinking about transferring risk and moving into the cloud. At the end of the day, the responsibility is still that enterprise. There's one thing important to remember about where we are today is that the test, if you will, the object of the exercise of cybersecurity is risk management, and whether you have undertaken a reasonable level of due care. And my personal opinion is that I think that when you can demonstrate that the people, the processes, the technologies, the infrastructure that you've used are best in class, are certified by independent bodies, are there recommended procedures and processes endorsed by the major governments, including the ones in your nation state, and by industry associations. Everything from people, processes, technology, and infrastructure are best in class. That, in my opinion, is a reasonable level of due care, and that's the heart of what risk management is all about.